Rogodo Zagata. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Beloved, welcome back. Beloved, once again. I trust that you can hear me live. Hear me now. Oh God. Hallelujah. Legatos Karabashandi. Ragadabazi. Karabazagaraba. In the name of Jesus. Get back to the transmission. So, thank you for the feedback. We really appreciate, and thank you very much. And beloved, as we go on the transmission today, we are still talking about why you cannot give up. Reasons why you cannot give up. And today, being the day number 5 of your destiny is assured. Now, we are talking about two things, two reasons why you cannot give up. And I mentioned previously that number one reason for today why you cannot give up, that you don't want to live the rest of your life in regret. You don't want to live the rest of your life in regret. Why am I saying so? Now, anything that you can do that you refuse to do today, which has power and potential to bless you, to build you, to bring you to a place of fulfillment, which you choose to do, gives room for you to live in reflection after some years, to live in you wish you could have done it. Many men and women in their days couldn't enjoy a youthful life, and as they grow, they live a life of regret. One person told me some years ago that, man of God, I have a problem. And I said, what's the problem? He said, I have a problem that anytime I see young ladies moving, going up and down, being bouncy, I'm jealous. I'm angry at them. And I asked her, why? He said, I don't know, but I'm angry. This is a lady who was at that time in her 40s. And she is talking about is how she is angry when she see young people who are bouncing, who are going up and down, who are being happy, enjoying being young. So after a long conversation, she herself could not understand why, she could not pick up why. But we sat in consultation and I was talking with her. Through interrogating her, now I got to realize that her youthful period was almost non-existent. She lived a life as a young person, doing all the things that elderly people do, and going through a situation where she never had an opportunity to enjoy being young. And so the time, if you are not careful, some of these things can cause to live in regret, because there are things you cannot reverse. There are situations you cannot reverse. Now, so what you need to do is that make the most of this period. When you see a grown up person, old men or old women, like in the 80s and in their 90s and even in the 70s, most of the time, when you go near to them, you see that they like to tell stories. They will tell you stories they have told you over and over again. Why? Because they are excited about their experiences they have had. They are excited. And if you're not careful, you might think that, but what is keeping them alive? What is keeping them going? The record, the history they have, the experiences they had. And when they begin to relive it in their excitement, it gives them again. It makes them feel a sense of having life. It makes them feel a sense of being alive. And it gives them a reason to continue to live tomorrow so that they can continue to share their story for the future. Now, what I want you to understand is that you to live a regret life, because you know what, as much as you have opportunity today and situations are against you, yes, conditions are against you, yes, and yet you are not in a place where you are able to connect, and you are about to give up. A day will come, you that if you had fought just a little, if you have fought just a little, you were going to overcome, and you were going to turn around situation. You were going to bring history back into life, and it was going to be an awesome period. Now, beloved, you don't want to live the rest of your life in regret. This is one good reason why you need to bounce back. You need to wake up and give up on your life, and not give up on yourself, and not give up on anything you know how. Your life is important to you, not but to even generations just yet unborn, because you are one great reason why life must continue to go on. We have great men and women. Some of them have passed on, but because of the way they lived, they have given us and people, children yet unborn, a reason not to regret. We have given us a reason to live, a reason to fulfill our assignment, a reason to be happy. And you have the opportunity today to do just that. And you can't give up, and you don't want to live a regret. Now, I know somebody is dying in a certain serious condition, in a certain bad condition, and he or she is giving up in that condition to let it finish. But listen to me, you cannot do that. You still have life, you still have a future. That bad job, that bad relationship, that bad condition you are in, you can change it, you can break it, you can turn it around. You can turn situation around. There are things that you want to look back and say that I did it. And one of them is what you're going through today. That you wake up today and one day and tell your children and tell people around you that, you know what, it was very bad. It was hopeless, but I made it. It was not something that I thought I could survive, but I survived it. And because of that, I'm here today. Now, there are many people, we look into scripture. There are many people that we know in the Bible who regretted over their lives, who regretted, and not because they were wicked men, but because there were situations they could have maintained, they could have contained. Yet, when they lost it, they did not pursue it, and they lost it forever, and they regretted. You know, one of such person is a woman in the Bible that I call the wife of Job. I believe that the wife of Job regretted for whatever she did. I believe that that woman, if she was still alive, time Job stood through his struggles and got restored. I believe that when she saw Job, he was going to say that he made a great mistake, and forever she was going to be living in a regret. Because you know something, she had opportunity in the time of trouble, of the trouble of a man that she was living with, to stand for her, to stand and be an encouragement. When even her friends came around and speaking things that were making him feel spiritually victimized, yet he stood, he needed a wife, somebody like her to be there for her. At the time that he could have stood and said that, you know what, we are not giving up. We'll fight through this together. We will work through this together. She said that, no, curse God and die. She can't tolerate this kind of, excuse my language, this kind of nonsense, this kind of people, this kind of situation where somebody you have confided in, trusted, a God that you have spent your energy, your life, your investment on, cannot save you. And he allows you to go through these things. While things are going that bad, I can't stand this. He left. But I believe that if he was still alive, she was going to live a life of regret. Because you know what? When people choose to stand and come out of situations, they come out with a great bounce. They come out with a great experience. They come out with power not to go down there again. Because most often they have learned how to go hungry, and they have learned how to lose what you have. So they will learn the wisdom, serving what they are getting afterwards. Now, one of the people that we can talk about, when we talk about people who lived their lives, probably we could look into the scripture and see a guy called Jobs. Now, this is a guy who financed the banker, finance minister of the ministry of Jesus Christ. This is somebody that Jesus trusted. Actually, in life, you don't trust people with your finance or your wealth when you don't have trust for them. You must have some kind of honor and recognition for some people before you can give them your finances or your wealth, so that they can keep charge of it. And when you need it, they must tell you that it's there. Now, this guy took advantage of the situation, knowing what was coming in and going out. The Bible records that he was stealing. He was robbing the account. Number two, he ultimately saw that, no, I can sell this guy for my own advantage. The people need him, and I want cash. So if even he deceived himself to think that if I sell him, he will do a miracle and save himself and still I will have the money. It's a miracle worker. Now, I don't want you to live in regret. You can't live your life in full regret. There are things that you want to do. There are things that you are doing. There are things that you are attempting that if you drop it and you don't stand up to say, I will change the direction of things, how directions of things are going, you are going to experience the great damage, the great destruction that you have ever experienced. That great destruction is the destruction of regret. You know something? This man called Judas Iscariot, after he saw that Jesus will not do a miracle and he allowed himself to be killed, he allowed himself to be beaten, he saw that no, there was no way out. He regretted, he was warned, he was advised, but he chose to get what he wanted and just let it go because he knew that nobody can do anything with him, that Jesus will sort himself out. So he chose to do what he needed to do. Now, by he taking that decision, he was giving up on his life. He was giving up on his future. He was giving up on something that can give him a reason to have life and hope. But he gave it up and then sold himself for certain small amount of money. It doesn't matter the worth of it, how much it costed, what he could have done. What I want you to understand that sometimes, most of the time, not sometimes, most of the time, your future cannot be sold for nothing. Because you know what? There are things that are temporal. If you life and if you bounce back and keep on living, you will be able possibly to turn your life around and gain and make more than you could have you could have sold. Don't do that because you don't want to live in regret. The decisions that you are taking, the kind of people that you are following, the kind of visions and the kind of thing, the kind of ideals that you are following and pursuing, you don't want to live a regret life. So bounce back and don't throw in the towel. Don't sell the future. Don't if nothing is at stake. God is still at work and God is still alive. And I want to encourage you that let everything that is in you respond to hold on and to say that, you know what, I feel tempted to sell my life. I feel tempted to sell my future. I feel tempted to fight this system that is able to make me and sustain me. I feel tempted that I should cut off the support line and the support system, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to live a life of regret. I don't want my life to become a waste. I want to keep going and I want to go forward and know that I tried something. Now, you see, as we are talking about this man called Judas Iscariot, we want to talk about other people also who could have done a lot, who could have done something, and yet they chose not to do it. Somebody like the man called Esau. Esau was an ordinary gentleman who had the right and the advantage of being and receiving the blessing of his father. Which kind of blessing was it? It was the blessing of the firstborn child. And this blessing, he was entitled to it by virtue of his birth position. He was the firstborn to receive the double portion blessing from his own father, And yet, he could not wait. He sold the birthright. Now, he has a reason. He was hungry, but he was not going to die. Now, this is what I want you to understand. There are decisions you are taking, and you are going through. There are things, there are people that are hanging around you that you can cut them off for the rest of your life. But for the sake of some things, you feel people will talk, you feel you have outside people's about you and all those things. You are maintaining digging a hole. Now, there are things you can cut off. This man had his anger as something cut off and control and tame, yet he didn't. So he sold the birthright position that he could have. That gives him right to own the blessing of the father, the double blessing of the father. Yet he chose to wait for short-term food. So when he took it and ate it, he forgot it. After some years, this guy still had opportunity to take the blessing of his father. His father called him, spoke to him, and told him to be done. And when he gave him the terms and conditions for the blessing, he found root that he knows. He didn't consult anybody. There are times that you are close to something that can bless you, and you can connect with other people. You can play as a team, but for the sake of your personal know how, which you have changed out. You don't want to consult anybody. You want to go solo. You want to go in. That's not bad sometimes, but that's not the best most of the time. So he went. By the time he came back, his brother has put charge of the blessing. Yes, but he has taken the blessing. And the father told him that, you know what, I blessed him and he's blessed. Wow. And for the rest of that moment, the guy, how can I do that? He took my birthright, number one. How did he take your, in the question? How did he take your birthright? He took my birthright. And this time he has taken my blessing. Wow. Beloved, what I'm saying to you is that you don't want to live your life in regret. After he talked and he cried, he regretted all the blessing. He cried, the father, and gave him a secret that if you will be strong and you willing to fight and not you willing to resist, willing to fight back, you are going to get it back. Now, this man, I know, in a regret, he lost something that he lost, but he bounced back. One day, so many years after their father died, and he's coming back, and his brother wanted to give him certain portions of blessing. You know what, my brother, I'm blessed. I already have more than what I need. Mine will help you. I came here to help you. This is a man from regret. Another man who learned from regret, who positioned himself not to be a victim of the past, is Peter. Peter bounced back after he did what Jesus told him not to do. People who go through situation, yet they don't allow the situation to destroy them. Judas Iscariot told himself because he couldn't find a reason and a way back to Jesus. There are people that if they do bad to people, they close up and they cannot go back. Have a chance to wake up again. There is somebody you can connect to him again. There is somebody who is support and supply, and you can reconnect and allow him to play the role that he needs to play in your life. Now, don't live a life of regret. Don't give up on yourself. Find the right ways to come back again, to bounce back again. Peter, he repented. He changed his mind. He repented and reconciled. Who almost lost everything, but didn't give up. In the story of the prodigal son, he took everything that was his, that is for him, went and messed up and everything and became a slave. A strange situation, a strange setup. Yet when he came to himself, he saw that I can't live my life in regret. Yes, I've wasted the wealth of my father, and I've wasted my wealth. I've wasted everything. But I cannot continue here because in my father's house, I regret leaving my father's house, but I cannot continue like that. I want to go back to my father's house. Now, why is this story important? It's important because you might be like the prodigal, got a lot of wealth. You carried wealth. You've commanded power and authority and influence. Maybe in the place of leadership, you've been a leader and you have commanded many under you, yet you've lost favor. You've lost so many things. But I want you to understand that you can rebuild yourself. You can come back again. Many people have gone down and come back and come back again. Now, the good part of it is if you choose to come out from the dust and work yourself and forget about your shame, about the fear, what people will say, and forget about the opinions of men and wake yourself up. By the time you settle, you'll remember that you did yourself the best of service. And for that matter, you will be forever grateful. You will not live to regret. You will live to happy. Now, the last thing as we close for today is this, that number 2, you dream again. You know, many of us, we lose sight. We lose what is ours. When we are broken, when we are shattered, when we lose, we fall into calamities, when disaster befall us and we crash, most time our confidence to dream again is broken. You feel that it's not worth it. At this age of mine, at this stage in my life, nobody will help me. There's nothing to dream for. There's nothing to wish for. I don't wish for anything. I'm waiting to die. But beloved, I want to understand that you can forever dream again. The dream doesn't need money. Dream doesn't need people. Dream doesn't need form of resource. Dream needs your mind, your person. And if you have a dream and you can dream again, it's possible that you will be able to bounce. Because you know what? Dream gives dream direction. Dream gives you desire. Dream gives you the tenacity to want to say that I will start again no matter how long. I will begin again no matter how small I have. Dream will make say that I cannot die in this situation. Like this guy who is called Joseph. But he was not just a dreamer. He was a person who dreamed and dreamed again. His brothers, after they heard his first dream, got angry with him. And he told his father. His father said, "What do you mean? Are you saying that myself and your mom, we are coming to serve you?" And they all knocked it down in their minds and said, "This is a threat to us." And I think in the house, it was not too nice for him. People look at him with an eye. Yet the Bible said that he yet dreamed again, another dream. He still dreamed again and still came out and said, "I've just have another dream." Your dream is your desire. Your dream is your passion. Your dream is the thing that make you to wake up and have a thought and have a mind and to say, where will I want to be? Where will I want to be in 5 years? Where will I want to be 25 years? Now look at you. It doesn't matter how old you are. Even if you're 75, you still can dream, because you know what? You've got 75 years of great experience, which nobody can compete with you about. Nobody can take out from you. But if you can sit down, dream again, you can now revamp yourself, put yourself up, and then wake yourself. Remember, Joseph was a dreamer, but he was not just a physical dreamer, a literal dreamer, he was a dreamer in action. He was a dreamer who put his dreams into make it to function. When he was in the house of Potiphar, he worked himself out because he knew that that place was a temporal place. Effective there because he knew that he has a reason, he has purpose, he has a goal. It's something he knew to touch. You know that he's born to be great. And if you know you are meant to be great, it means that you are called to do your things in certain form of perfection, with certain form of energy. You cannot be great doing things like that. You cannot be great doing things with less attitude, with very negative. So he woke up, and the Bible said that in the house of Potiphar, where he was, he served with such kind of tenacity that the man will not see any reason why not to entrust him with his whole house. You know what? It's a worker. A dreamer is somebody who finds ways to work on things that comes into his. He doesn't say that it's not for me. He doesn't say it's not for me, it's for somebody, so I'll just do it anyhow. A dreamer takes advantage that even if the business, the work and the thing I'm doing is not for me, if I work it efficiently, it's giving me practical know-how as to manage my own dreams to come to pass. So a dreamer will wake up and say, let me work it out. He was so efficient that the master, Potiphar, handed the whole affairs of his business and his household to him, and he was in charge. My God, I'm talking about bouncing back with a dream. You can dream again, but he was living a life of dream. Many people, when they are in the service of other people, they work anyhow. They are lackadaisic. They are slow. They behave like they own it. But a dream will own somebody's business, will own somebody's dreams, somebody's affair, and make it his own, and make sure that he will do his best. So, because if you see a person excelling in his or her own, look into the history of the person, you will realize that that person would have been able to be a good worker in somebody's own. Now, one of the reasons why, when you are looking for a job, they ask you for your CV. It's not because they want a book or a paper to write. No, they will ask you for, one of the reasons is because they want to know how serious you take people's affairs. They want to know how serious you work and who is going to be standing behind you to recommend. And yes, he has been in this business before. He has been in this company before. He is an efficient. He's somebody we lost with pain. We didn't want to lose him, but we had no option, so we had to let him go. So he's somebody you can entrust. Now, what a dreamer is somebody who is trustworthy. So you can dream again. Wake up. He said, I have no job. Now look into yourself. Put yourself into a place where you can locate yourself and work for somebody for nothing. Before I close, I'm talking about something. A dreamer works. 1 year ago, when there was a financial crash, there were many workers who were laid off. One lady came to our church who was laid off, and like many others. So when he came to me and we're talking, I went to her and spoke to her that go back to your office, talk to your managers, and talk to your managers. If they need somebody to come and support or do a voluntary work for nothing, not to be paid, I can do it. I'm ready to offer myself. And it was quite strange, but because everybody was at home, everybody was stranded. So he went back, took the advice, spoke to their manager, said to them that, you know what, I have nothing doing at home. It doesn't matter. I don't want any pay. I just want to come and have time. But I will work as if I'm working full time, but don't pay me, just a volunteer. So that in case you need things, I can assist for no pay. And remember, when they were picking back workers, you imagine who they will pick again. Same person who went to volunteer for some months, number of months for free, is the first person they picked up before they even called the other people to come for interviews. Now, I want you to understand that a dreamer is a worker. So you can dream again. Wake up, dream again. Offer yourself, offer your talent, do something new. Let something keep happening, because you know what? This is your life and this is your opportunity. You can make it happen. We are going to be praying that you and I will come to the point where we'll be able to fulfill the purpose of God. Dreamers the world. The Wright brothers who invented aeroplane were dreamers. The people that we talk about in this world who have become great men, Mr. Microsoft, Mr. Bill Gates, and all those great men and women in our communities who have brought about great businesses that people are able to get to, that we call them bosses. All of them are dreamers, and it takes you to wake up. You cannot afford to stop yourself, because dreaming doesn't cost much. You can dream again. So wake up and let us move forward. Let us keep going, and let us see that the power of God's glory will work on us to our advantage. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being a part of the transmission. I want to encourage you to share the message, share the video. If you're watching on our YouTube page, why don't you subscribe to it and click the notification button, so that whenever we are putting the program on, you will be a partaker of it. And also, if you are not a friend to Kenneth Ken, just subscribe, go and send a friend request. And also remember that you can also be like my page, Kenneth Ken, and we together will build ourselves together. Get up. You can't give up. Until the same time tomorrow, we are going to get up and not give up, and keep pushing, so that together we can fulfill the purpose of God for our lives, affect generations, and be a blessing to people. I pray that the God of heaven, I pray that his power move on you. I pray that his glory move on you and overshadow you. I pray that you activated from your inner man. I pray that help has come your way. I pray that support be granted you. In the name of Jesus, be blessed, beloved. The Lord bless you. And thank you for staying, and thank you for tuning in and to being a part. Now, don't forget that I love you, but God loves you most. God bless you. Bye.